They called them ugly, they laughed at them. They swore the trend would die in a year, and yet, you won't believe this, those colorful foam clogs built a billion-dollar empire that refused to sink. Even when it almost did, this isn't the story you think you know. The truth revealed is that behind the memes, the celebrity collabs, and the internet hype lies a hidden lesson in survival, risk, and reinvention. What no one tells you is that Crocs came terrifyingly close to disappearing forever, and only a handful of people know why it didn't. We're not talking about a simple comeback. We're talking about boardroom battles, billion-dollar gambles, and a marketing strategy so bold it turned mockery into gold. It almost didn't work, but when it did, it changed everything. And here's the secret behind it: the moves that took Crocs from global punchline to cultural icon are the kind of strategies any brand, any business, and any dreamer can learn from. If you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever been told your idea will never work, this story is for you. Topic 1. The success you didn't see coming. At first, Crocs seemed like just another passing fad, a colorful rubber clog people wore for gardening or lazy beach days. But you won't believe this, that so-called ugly shoe started selling like wildfire in the middle of summer. Within a few short years, it was on shelves worldwide, winning over everyone from fishermen to fashion editors. And here's the part no one saw coming. The real story was unfolding far from the spotlight, behind closed doors. What really happened behind the scenes could have been straight out of a movie. No one saw it coming. A product born from an almost inside joke among founders turned into a global phenomenon worth billions. Imagine a brand that didn't even know how to position itself in the beginning suddenly becoming the subject of late night talk shows, magazine covers, and endless internet memes. It looked unstoppable. Until cracks started to show from within, the truth revealed later was that this meteoric rise came at a cost. Retailers were demanding restocks faster than factories could produce. Distributors fought over exclusivity deals. Investors threw money at the brand without fully understanding its limits. And like every business that grows too fast, subtle warning signs began to emerge. The kind that, if ignored, can topple even a billion-dollar empire. For any entrepreneur, this is a hidden lesson worth remembering. Fast success is intoxicating, but it can be your worst enemy. You've seen it before. Companies that blow up overnight only to vanish in under 2 years. Why? Because they never had time to build a solid foundation. Crocs was standing on that exact cliff edge, and although it looked untouchable, what came next would prove otherwise. The shocking story is that, while customers lined up for the latest models, inside the company, they were already whispering about layoffs, restructuring, and radical change. This changed everything, and not in the way executives had hoped. It was like watching a luxury cruise ship sailing smoothly while a hole slowly formed in its hull. If no one acted fast, it could have ended here. This is the part marketing never told you. Crocs was about to face one of the biggest tests in its history. The kind of storm that doesn't make it to the commercials or the Instagram feed. What really happened next, and how it almost destroyed everything, is something very few people know, but it completely rewrote the brand's destiny. Topic 2. The 2008 meltdown. No one talks a booth year was 2008. And while the world was busy watching banks collapse and stock markets freefall, Crocs was quietly heading toward its own disaster. You won't believe this. A brand worth billions just months earlier saw its stock price crash by more than 75% in a single year. Stores were closing left and right, orders were being canceled, and the company that once couldn't make shoes fast enough was now drowning in unsold inventory. Inside headquarters, panic was setting in. No one saw it coming. Warehouses were overflowing with millions of pairs of clogs that no one seemed to want anymore. Overproduction had turned from a sign of ambition into a death sentence. Meetings grew tense, fingers were pointed, and when profits evaporate overnight, every decision starts to feel like a gamble. The truth revealed later was that the meltdown wasn't just about the global financial crisis, it was also about Crocs' own missteps. They had expanded too aggressively, betting the trend would last forever. But here's a hidden lesson. Trends die faster than you think, and when they do, the fall can be brutal. Imagine building your entire future on a wave, only to realize the tide's already pulling back. In the hallways, leadership disputes flared. Executives clashed over whether to double down on marketing or slash costs to the bone. Some wanted to reinvent the product line entirely, while others insisted the classic clog would bounce back. That tug-of-war burned precious time, and time in a crisis is worth more than money. Employees started to feel the chill. Layoffs became inevitable, morale tanked, and the once confident company culture turned cautious and fearful. It almost didn't work. Every attempted fix fell too little, too late. And if you've ever run a business, you know how dangerous it is when fear becomes the decision maker. That's when even the smartest teams start making desperate moves. But just when it seemed like Crocs might fade into a remember them story, a twist was about to change everything. Out of nowhere, an unlikely player stepped in, someone with the cash, the strategy, and the nerve to try saving what many believed was already doomed. Topic 3. Blackstone's secret playbook win. Crocs was teetering on the edge. It wasn't a shoe designer or a marketing genius who came to the rescue. It was a private equity giant. You won't believe this. Blackstone, known for turning struggling companies into cash machines, saw opportunity where most saw a sinking ship. Their move, a massive investment paired with a leadership shakeup that would put Andrew Rees at the helm. No one saw it coming, but Rees wasn't there to just keep the lights on. He came with a blueprint. The truth revealed was brutal in its simplicity. Cut costs, streamline operations, and stop trying to be everything to everyone. Instead of chasing every trend, Crocs would double down on what made them unique. That meant shelving dozens of experimental designs and going back to the core product that people either loved or loved to hate. Behind the scenes, this was more than a financial rescue. It was a cultural reset. A hidden lesson for any business owner: when you're in trouble, clarity is your most powerful weapon. Blackstone's playbook stripped away the noise and forced the company to answer one question: why should anyone care about Crocs? Once they had that answer, everything else started to align. But make no mistake, the cuts were deep. Hundreds of jobs disappeared, marketing budgets were slashed, and entire product lines were killed. To the outside world, it looked risky, even reckless. Internally, it felt like survival. And if you've ever had to let go of something you worked hard for, you know the sting. But sometimes you have to burn the old to make space for the new. Rees also brought discipline to the supply chain. No more warehouses stuffed with unsold inventory. Production was tied directly to real demand, and the days of wild overproduction were over. It almost didn't work. The brand was still fragile, and one wrong move could send it right back into freefall. And yet, something unexpected started to happen. With the chaos fading, Crocs began to rediscover its identity. But instead of running from the ugly label that haunted them for years, they were about to turn it into their most powerful marketing weapon. Topic 4. Ugly turned into marketing gold. For years, Crocs had been mocked, memed, and dismissed as the clunky, ugly shoe no one would style would be caught dead wearing. But you won't believe this. Instead of running from the insult, Crocs embraced it. They leaned in, proudly claiming the title of the world's favorite ugly shoe. The truth revealed was that in the age of social media, self-awareness could be a superpower. No one saw it coming, but this bold pivot flipped the narrative. Suddenly, ugly wasn't a weakness, it was a badge of honor. Memes went viral, Gen Z adopted the shoe ironically, and celebrities started rocking them in paparazzi shots. The hidden lesson: sometimes the fastest way to win people over is to stop trying to impress them and start owning exactly who you are. It almost didn't work. Fashion is fickle, and irony can turn cruel overnight. But Crocs timed it perfectly. They launched playful campaigns, invited fans to customize their clogs with colorful charms, and fueled an online community that celebrated individuality over trends. If you've ever been told you're too different to succeed, Crocs proved that different can become your biggest advantage. And then came the celebrity factor. Pop culture icons like Justin Bieber and Post Malone didn't just wear Crocs, they collaborated with the brand. This wasn't by accident. Behind the scenes, Crocs' marketing team had mapped out a strategy to infiltrate music, streetwear, and even high fashion. They understood that if you want to rewrite your reputation, you need the right messengers. The meme explosion didn't just boost sales, it set the stage for Crocs to play in spaces no one thought possible. Suddenly, the same shoe mocked on. Late-night TV was walking runways and selling out limited drops in minutes. What really happened here is a masterclass in turning criticism into courtesy. But Crocs wasn't done yet. The boldest move was still ahead, one that would merge street style with luxury fashion in a way that would shock the industry, break the internet, and prove that even the ugliest shoe could become high dash and topic 5 the celebrity and luxury. Collab Gamma B now, Crocs had mastered the art of turning heads. But you won't believe this, their next move was so bold it almost didn't happen. The brand partnered with names that seemed like years away from their humble clog: Balenciaga, Justin Bieber, Post Malone. It was the kind of high-low fashion mix that made people either gasp in awe or roll their eyes. And that was exactly the point. No one saw it coming. But these collaborations weren't just about selling shoes, they were about rewriting cultural relevance. Imagine a $50 clog transformed into a $1,000 runway piece. The truth revealed was that the shock factor was the strategy. By making people talk, Crocs became more than footwear. They became a conversation starter in every corner of fashion. It almost didn't work. Luxury fashion has a long memory and a short tolerance for gimmicks. One misstep could have turned Crocs into a punchline again, but the hidden lesson here? If you're going to gamble, gamble big enough that people can't ignore you. Balenciaga's oversized platform Crocs sold out in hours. Bieber's limited edition drop crashed websites. Post Malone's designs had resale prices higher than some designer sneakers. This was marketing alchemy, combining celebrity influence, internet hype, and the power of scarcity. For everyday businesses, it's a reminder that collaboration can be a growth rocket if you choose partners who amplify your brand rather than dilute it. Think about who your Balenciaga or Bieber could be in your industry. Someone unexpected but influential enough to shift perception. And yet, the real magic was how these partnerships opened the door to expansion. Crocs was no longer confined to clogs. They were now testing sandals, boots, and even collaborations in completely new product categories. This changed everything, signaling that the brand could evolve without losing its quirky DNA. But Crocs wasn't just chasing style points. They were about to make the biggest financial gamble in their history, a move that could either secure their empire for decades or bring it crashing down. Topic 6. The $2.5 billion gamble. Hey Dude acquisition in 2021. While most brands were playing it safe after a shaky global economy, Crocs placed a bet so big it made Wall Street raise its eyebrows. You won't believe this. They spent $2.5 billion to acquire Hey Dude, a casual shoe brand with a loyal following, but nowhere near Crocs' global recognition. It was a move that could either double their empire or sink it. No one saw it coming, but this was more than just a purchase. It was a calculated expansion. The truth revealed was that Crocs understood something most brands overlook. You can't rely on a single product forever. Hey Dude offered them a foothold in a different segment of casual footwear, one that appealed to customers who might never touch a clog. It almost didn't work. Integrating to completely different brands is like blending to strong flavors. Done right, it's genius. Done wrong, it's a mess. The hidden lesson here? Diversification only works if you protect the identity of both sides. Crocs knew they couldn't just slap their logo on Hey Dude shoes and call it a day. They kept Hey Dude's laid-back style intact while quietly boosting its reach with Crocs' global distribution power. Financially, it was a massive gamble. $2.5 billion is enough to buy smaller competitors outright or invest in dozens of new product lines. Critics warned that Crocs was overpaying, chasing growth instead of consolidating its core success, but sometimes the biggest wins come from risks that look insane on paper. In just months, Hey Dude started appearing in stores worldwide, riding on the back of Crocs' marketing machine. The strategy wasn't just about more sales, it was about securing a future where Crocs wasn't defined by a single silhouette. If the clog fad ever faded, Hey Dude could be the lifeboat that kept the ship afloat. Still, even with this bold expansion, shadows loomed. The market was changing fast, competition was rising, and new challenges were already forming on the horizon. Challenges that could test whether Crocs' empire was truly built to last. Topic 7. The challenges ahead and what no one tells you. Crocs might be riding high now, but you won't believe this. Their biggest battles may still be ahead. Knockoff brands are flooding the market, selling cheaper versions that look almost identical. For every pair of Crocs sold, there's a dozen counterfeits eating away at their market share. No one saw it coming, but the same quirky design that made them famous also made them easy to copy. The truth revealed is that trends are fragile. What's must-have today can be last season tomorrow. Gen Z's love for irony could turn into mockery just as quickly as it started. The hidden lesson? Popularity is a double-edged sword. It attracts fans, but it also attracts fatigue. If you've ever tried to stay relevant in a fast-changing environment, you know how exhausting it can be. It almost didn't work for Crocs in the past, and history could repeat itself. In earlier downturns, the brand underestimated how quickly demand could dry up. This time, they're facing another unpredictable factor: sustainability. Consumers are asking tough questions. How eco-friendly is a phone clog? What happens to them when they're worn out? These aren't just PR challenges. They're existential ones. Behind the scenes, executives are balancing two ticking clocks, one for fashion trends and one for environmental responsibility. If they can't innovate fast enough, competitors could swoop in with greener, trendier alternatives. The danger isn't just losing sales. It's losing cultural relevance. For any business owner, this is a wake-up call. You can be at the top of your game and still be one bad quarter away from a slide you can't stop. Crocs has the brand recognition, the cash flow, and the marketing muscle. But the road ahead is lined with traps. And so the question remains, will the next 5 years cement Crocs as a permanent cultural icon, or will they fade into a nostalgic remember when, like so many brands before them? What really happens next will decide if their empire endures or becomes just another chapter in fashion's graveyard. So now you know what really happened behind the rise, fall, and rebirth of Crocs. Wasn't luck. It was calculated risk, brutal honesty, and the courage to own exactly what made them different. The truth revealed is that the same mindset can change your life, your business, or your career. If you're willing to face the uncomfortable parts head-on, here's the hidden lesson. You don't have to be perfect to win. You just have to be bold enough to stand where others are afraid to. Crocs turned ugly into marketing gold. What label could you flip in your own life to make it your superpower? And think about this. If a phone clog could become a billion-dollar cultural icon, what's stopping your idea from doing the same? It could have ended here for Crocs, but it didn't, and maybe your next move is the one that changes everything. So I'll ask you, what's your ugly shoe moment? The thing people laugh at now, but could be your greatest advantage. Later, drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. If you want to keep uncovering shocking stories, hidden lessons, and the truth no one tells you about the biggest brands in the world, hit subscribe, turn on the notifications, and let's keep learning together.